ॐ सहनावतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। श्रुति स्मृति पुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयम् नमामि भगवत्पादम् शङ्करं लोकशङ्करम् शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यम् केशवं बादरायणम् सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। समस्तजनकल्याणे निरतं करुणामयम् नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरम्। ॐ श्री चिन्मय सद्गुरवे नमः। हरि ओम. We are trying to study Brahma Sutra Shankara Bhashya, first adhyaya, second group of adhikarana called Ikshatyadhikarana. And as a preface, we saw that the whole subject matter of this adhikarana is to refute the philosophy of Sankhya Darshana and thereby refute all other darshana regarding the most perplexing question for the human mind about creation. We all know that the world is created, Jagat, Srushti, or the creation, and because of which being human being, being a developed intellect, being at a stage of development of consciousness called human birth, we are able to contemplate upon a question from where the creation came. Will creation last? If creation is there, there has to be a creator. Is the creator there for this creation? Then who is he and where is he? When the creation ends, if at all it ends, does the creator also ends? And if the creator ends, then there is no further creation, or another creator comes and creates the creation? The questions galore in the mind simply because we are trying to fathom ever perplexing question for all the philosophers, Indian or otherwise. Jagat Karanavad. What has caused the creation to come in existence? The one who created the creation could have just sat quiet without creating the creation. Had the creation been not there, we wouldn't have the issues of suffering. Where is the question of desire, the want, the sufferings, the pain, the rebirth, the pangs of separating, the absence of love, the emotional turmoil, the intellectual chasm, the physical tortures? Everything would have not been there had there been no creation. So if the current creation that we see, which is full of majority, full of sorrow, as Gautam Buddha, as one of the prime principles said, that Sarvam Akhilam Vishwam Dukkham. The whole universe is nothing else but the ballad of sorrow. In Patanjali Yoga Sutra, even the Sukham is considered as Dukkham, and there are reasons given for it. When all the intellectual philosophers of the world says that the world is full of sorrow, then the one who created it must be the most crooked person in the world. What is the point in praising and doing worship of such a creator who has created such an uneven, discriminatory, painful world? These are some questions that should come to the mind of the thinker or the sadhaka while doing the sadhana, and that has been kept as the subject for the final conclusion in this adhikarana called Ikshatyadhikarana. Amongst those who attempted to give how the creation came in existence, the best amongst the lot are the Sankhya Tattvajnana. Starting from the Nyaya Tattvajnana, we see a progressive attempt to define the creation in a finer way. In a Vaisheshika Tattvajnana, the world is made up of only and only particles. The particle physics or the quantum physics came much later in this part of our world, in the science. However, Kanada Rishi was the first couple of 1,000 years before to mention that it is the particle that makes the universe. Which he called Paramanu. So Paramanuvad, the particle theory of Kanada, says that it is just these particles which combine and recombine, and this recombination probability gives rise to the world that we see today. To which the quantum physics definitely substantiate the same thing, because there is nothing in this world except the energy and mass, the mass being the particle, energy being the same counterpart of that mass in some other state. And the sum total of the energy of any particular system remains constant as per the principle of thermodynamics, which is essentially the philosophy that comes forward from the Vaisheshika philosophy. However, the most refined concept about creation comes from the Sankhya Tattvajnana. And if we look at their Tattvajnana, which says that how the world is created, the principles of cosmogony, the way it is propounded by Sankhyas, is the most appealing of all the darshanas. Sankhyas presuppose the combination of three gunas called Sattva, Raja, and Tama, that is essentially the cause and the process of the creation. Whenever three gunas are not there, creation is not there. When three gunas are in the balanced condition, when Sattva, Raja, Tama is in a Samyavastha or balanced condition, no creation is possible. Any flutter or fluctuation in the combination of Sattva, Raja, Tamas leads to formation of creation. And creation is nothing else but this disturbed equilibrium of Sattva, Raja, Tama continues to act upon each other. Once put into imbalance, then the imbalance continues down the line. And as the imbalance continues down the line, new things are formed. So when it is in complete balance, it is called Prakriti. When it starts developing imbalance in Sattva Rajatama, it becomes Vikruti. So Vikruti is parinama, change, effect, or a change in the status. In other words, it is the change which is the precursor of formation of a new thing. It is Vikruti or the parinam. So it is the water which then becomes the ice after the application of cold. It is the water that becomes the vapor after the application of fire. Nothing has changed. The ice, the water, the vapor is essentially the same that appears in a different form because of a change that takes place in them, and this change is attributed to the imbalance and a new combination of Sattva Rajatama. So in this universe, this change is a continuous process. That is why universe is not a static thing, it's a flux. Nothing in the world is stationary. It may appear stationary. A stone lying on the ground appears stationary, but it has already undergone a change at the very second when you look at it. As they say, you cannot swim in the water once. When you say or when you see a thing or perceive a thing, the very moment you perceive it, the next momentum has arrived and some change has happened. It is imperceptible to the sense organs, but the change is continuous. We all grow old right from the beginning. When we are a child, we do not realize it. On a grosser level, we say the childhood, the youth, and the old age. That is because of our inability to perceive the minor changes that are happening. In fact, there is no past, there is no future, because past is nothing else but the form that changed earlier into the present one, which will change into the future one. A yogi, because of his enormous concentration or samadhi or the sanyama, is able to see very clearly how the changes are happening in the world. So when he looks at the universe, he is able to say what will change into what and what has changed from what. So he knows the past, he knows the future, he knows the present, because for him, it is nothing else but a wave that is passing from one end to the other end. The question is, after the creation has formed, how it progressed is beautifully told by Sankhyas. And it applies very well. It has been adopted right there in Bhagavad Gita. Gunatraya Vibhaga is an adhyaya dedicated to nothing else but the concept of guna. So after the creation had started, how it all moved forward, and how from the primordial Prakriti, how the Panchamahabhutas are formed, how the Tanmatras are formed, how the mind is formed, how the Ahankar is formed, how the Jnanendriya, 5 sense organs, and Karmendriya, 5 action organs, how they are formed. Everything is beautifully told. But what we are dealing is not how the world has progressed. Our fundamental question is, who started the creation? When a bomb explodes, the chain reaction can be explained, but where did the reaction start and why did it start? When the creation started, has it started at all? Is it going to come to an end? Because if it is changing continuously, how long the change will be there? A day will come when the change will be over or not. According to Sankhya, the change will not be over, it will keep on happening. And even Lord Krishna says the same thing in Bhagavad Gita, Yantra Rudhani Mayaya. Arjuna, I have given an onset, I have given a key to a machine, and the machine will keep on revolving forever and forever. So the creation shall keep continuing, and if the creation shall keep continuing, then is it necessary that all those who are the part of the creation shall be condemned to be the part of creation and suffer? Sankhya says no. If it is a downhill progress, if the river had started from the top and flown down the line and is going to continuously flow, it is possible for someone to go upstream and go back to the origin, Layavad. So it is essential, it is possible and perhaps essential for the jiva to swim in opposite direction and go back from where he has come, whereby he can reach to Gunasamya Avastha. And moment he reaches Gunasamya Avastha, that means the original Avastha where Sattva Rajatama is same, that is the time he goes out of the creation, which is called Kaivalya by the Sankhya. But Brahma Sutra is not dealing with the process of creation, it is dealing with the etiology of creation, why the creation has started and who started it. And that is where there are differences between the Vedanta and the Sankhya Tattvajnana, which we saw in the last session. To enumerate the differences, according to Vedanta, Brahma is the entity responsible for the creation. It is the Upadana Karan and a Nimitta Karan of the creation. But according to Sankhya Tattvajnana, creation comes out of Prakriti, not Purusha. Purusha has no relationship whatsoever. Prakriti on its own, even though it is insentient, it unfolds. Suppose a coil, a spring has been pressed. Moment the pressure is released, it expands on its own. It does not require any external pressure. One analogy or drishtanta. Second is, Purusha is like sun. When the sun is shining, the light is everywhere. However, there is a dark wall which is not illuminated by the sun because it is not facing the sun. Incidentally, there is a mirror lying on one side which reflects the light of the sun on the wall, and the wall gets illuminated. The mirror here is Prakriti, sun is the Purusha. So Purusha, sun has no business to lighten anything or not lighten anything. It is just shining like Purusha. While Prakriti, mirror, by itself doesn't have a light, but can borrow the light from the sun and illuminate the black wall or a dark wall and illuminate it. That is how the world has come into an existence. Achetana, insentient Prakriti, gives rise to the world, although insentient, simply because of its proximity to the Purusha. The mirror happens to lie in the way of sunlight. So it throws the light at some other place. It has no light of its own. It is insentient. This is the theory of creation of Sankhya. The Vedanta doesn't believe in it. It says the mirror is a mirror, mirror is achetana, insentient, cannot do anything, cannot even throw the light. The light has to come into the mirror. This coming of light and then falling it on the mirror. The mirror is an upadhi, adjunct, restricting apparatus. The sunlight is restricted by an apparatus called mirror, and that is how the creation has started. And this mirror, which is an adjunct for this light, when the light gets restricted by the mirror or engulfed by the mirror is called upadhi, and such a light, when it gets engulfed by the upadhi, it is called Ishvara. The sunlight, is it interested in lightening the darker wall? Not at all. Why? Sunlight knows only giving light. It's its nature to give light. It is not for anything or against anything. Sun shines, light comes. Light is a swarup of sun. We cannot imagine sun without light. Why? It is its inherent nature. So by its inherent nature, it is illuminating structure already there in the sky. Whether down below somebody is using the light or not using the light is no concern at all. So Brahma is a Vikraya, Nirguna, Nirakara, particle-less, partless, Avyaya, untainted, purest. So it will remain as it is. So Brahman has no intention, because intention is not a part of sun. But the sunlight getting captured into the mirror has ability to capture. And how is this mirror? It's a very funny thing. Nothing else around is as shining as mirror. Mirror is the only one which has capacity to trap the light and reflect. By itself, mirror, when there is no light, is of no use, it is dead. So the mirror gets enlivened. Mirror, otherwise a thing lying on the road, on the surrounding area, is virtually as useless as that dead wall. But moment it comes in contact with the sun, it gets enlivened, and now it becomes useful because it has an ability to capture the part of the light. So by itself, mirror cannot reflect unless the light is there. So without light, mirror is as dead as a stone. That is why the creation is a dead thing, inert, insentient, jada. Moment the light comes in on that mirror, the trapping of light happens, there is reflection of light, and all the samsara prapancha keeps happening. Now the mirror has got a new title called Ishvara, because its ability to trap the light. So light trapped in mirror is Ishvara. Brahman trapped in Maya is Ishvara. Remove the mirror. Where does the light go? It is there already with the sun. Now the reflected light of this mirror goes into different aspects on the wall which was so far dark. Wherever it goes, each of them are called the jiva. At an individual level, the mirror that we have to trap the essence or the Brahman Because it is restricted to one body of a human being or a jiva, that trapping apparatus is called buddhi. The mirror for the world is Ishvara. The mirror for an individual or jiva is buddhi. The process is same. Sunlight trapped by Ishvara, a mirror called Ishvara, illuminates the whole world by reflective light. And the same sunlight caught by an individual jiva in his buddhi illuminates the whole body. We call it as a conscious body, because consciousness has now come in the body, individual body, in the smaller parcel form. For the sake of understanding, that sunlight which has entered into my body, and my body means in my antakarana or buddhi, that is called Atma. What is it in reality? It is nothing else but sunlight. Because it is now restricted in my body, I call it Atma. Moment my body is removed, where does this Atman goes? The illuminating part goes. It becomes one with the illumination. So virtually and technically, there is no separation between Atman and Brahma, but to the extent of the limiting adjunct called body or upadhi called body utilizes it. Electricity is humongous, of which some part is used by the electric fan. When the electric fan is broken down or removed, where does the electricity go? With the main grid again back to the electricity, because it was electricity only. Electricity trapped in a fan is called moving fan. In the similar manner, the consciousness or the Brahman trapped in a jiva, referred to as Atman, because of the reflecting surface called buddhi. And this entrapment is there for all the jivas. Right from the soil and stone to the mountain, everyone has a reflecting capacity, a reflecting apparatus. However, the capacity differs. The sunlight falls on the stone also. It doesn't reflect. In the mirror, it reflects 100%. The difference is in the material development. So in different jivas, depending upon the developmental stage, from the green grass to the trees, to the unicellular animals, to the multicellular animals, to the human being, this development of reflecting surface is the progress, is the evolution. More you trap the light, more developed you are. So it is not that you increase your consciousness, you increase your capacity to hold the consciousness. And more and more and more capacity. So when you go and reach to a capacity of holding the consciousness to the level of Ishvara, you become Ishvara. But still you are an entrapment. Still you are the holder of huge sunlight, but you are not the sunlight. Only when you transcend the Ishvara, that means when you go out of the entrapping material of this mirror, then you will become one with the sunlight. That is called Upadhi Rahita Chaitanya. That is called merging with higher and highest and all-pervasive consciousness. And the all-pervasive consciousness or the sun, when you become, have you gone out of the world? In one way, yes. In another way, no. Why? Because again, the sunlight is seen everywhere in the creation. The only difference is you were badly trapped in a wrong way in the creation. You slowly deshackled yourself so that you can experience the larger and larger consciousness till the time you became one with the consciousness, only to realize that you are everywhere in the creation. Yastu sarvani bhutani ekatvam anupashyata. All the beings in the creation, you feel you are them or they are you. How it is possible to identify with a blade of grass, to a stone, to how? It's only when you become the enlivening material or the consciousness in each of them. To become light of the universe, you need to become sun. This is the process of Vedanta. So in this situation, can we say that the sun had interest in reflecting the light? No, he has no interest at all. If mirror comes, it will reflect. Doesn't come, it will not reflect. So the creation is all these mirrors and these jivas and there, this is for whom? Whatever is happening because of this reflected light, whether it is pain or happiness, is it for the sun? No, sun has no business into it. So Brahma is abhokta, akarta. He doesn't do anything. He doesn't experience anything. He's an inert material in a different way. He's not inert in a way of completely condemnable. It is actually the most eulogized spirit. However, he has no interest in what is happening in creation simply because creation itself is utilization of consciousness by the reflecting medium. So who will suffer? The reflecting medium will suffer. Why should the sunlight suffer? Suppose the mirror is full of dirt, it will not be able to reflect. So who suffers? The vision suffers of the mirror. The sunlight is still as it is. The Lord, which when it reflected in my intellect, it was pristine and pure. My intellect was colluded and dirty. So I am suffering in this world. Can I blame the Lord or the sunlight? No. Blame the reflecting surface. The reflecting surface is buddhi. The reflecting surface is ability to comprehend the consciousness. And I have brought two major elements of issues in my reflecting medium. One, my reflecting medium is extremely unclean. It has got mala, dirt. What are the dirts I have created? The dirt of ahankar, ego. Ego is the single largest paste of dirt completely covering the reflecting medium. And as a blind man would move around in the world, hitting himself against all the solid objects, a person having a dull intellect or the dirty intellect moves around in this world with all kind of sorrows, and it is full of all kind of effects of the dirt. Kama, krodha, moha, lobha, mada, matsara, yasha, kirti, satta, sampatti, pratishtha. He keeps chasing that, adding more to the dirt. However, that the only one who clears this dirt and shines his reflecting surface, the Lord starts becoming felt in that reflecting surface. The sunlight is now clearly visible. When that happens, he loses the interest in the creation, not in the manner that is expected. He loses the interest in the creation the way we are interested. So all the dirt-full minds or the intellects, the way they are interested in the world, this yogi is not, because his intellect is now pure and clear. But still he finds that the light, reflected light of the consciousness is still not steady. So his next job is to steady the reflecting surface. Even if the mirror is extremely clean, if it keeps shaking, the light cannot be steady. So the next important mission for the yogi, after cleaning the dirt on the mirror, is to steady the mirror. And steadying mirror is called upasana. The act of concentration is the act of steadying the reflecting surface so that the consciousness that is received, the sunlight that is received in the mirror is not lost, is not fettered away. And once the mirror is clean and extremely steady, in one golden moment, the mirror suddenly looks at the sun, and there is instant realization to the mirror that, look, I'm just a reflecting surface. The light that is there in me is coming from the sun. Then he drops the mirror and merges with the sun. That is what we call as salvation or mukti or moksha. This is the process of Vedanta. So according to Vedanta, the sun, the Brahma, has no interest whatsoever. It is nishkriya. It is not a bhokta. It is not a karta. However, the Sankhya, of course, differ here. They say Purusha is the bhokta. When I speak about Brahma Sutra, you are listening through your ears and you are understanding it. You are getting knowledge about something. Who is getting the knowledge? Is it the Brahma who is getting the knowledge, or is it you? And who are you then? The one who is receiving this knowledge is the reflected consciousness of the buddhi, not the consciousness. Why? Because consciousness is a jnanamaya. It does not require knowledge. And what is the difference between the knowledge of Brahma and knowledge of buddhi? What is the difference between the reflected light of the mirror and what is the difference between the sunlight? The reflected sunlight is always off some mirror. The word off has to be there. Moment you say I am knowledgeable, the next question is knowledgeable of what? I am knowledgeable about quantum physics. Of. Moment you say I am happy, the next question is happy about what? Moment you say I know, you know what? Whenever what, of what, that question comes, you are into the restricted consciousness. Well, the ever illuminating consciousness of the sunlight, that is where you don't ask the question of what, but there is only knowledge. You know your entire body very well every day because it is your own body. You don't ask a question, hand off, finger off. You don't ask because you know this is yours. Whatever is you, yours, your swarupa, you don't ask a question of what. Brahma is everywhere, that is his own body. Ekam eva advitiyam, there is no second, there is only Brahma everywhere. So what will be he knowledgeable of? Nothing. To be knowledgeable of, there has to be another one. If he is the only one, he cannot be knowledgeable of anything else, but he can be knowledge. What does sun enlighten? Sun enlightens everything. But he himself is light. Because of his presence, things get enlightened. Tomorrow, these things are not existing, the light will continue to be there. When the creation is not there, Brahma will still be knowledgeable. Because it's his Swaswarupa. The lamp will continue to glow whether The darkness around is there to dispel or not there to dispel? जहां पे रखेंगे रोशनी फैलाएंगे चरागों का अपना कोई मका नहीं होता. The Sufi says, consciousness shall illuminate irrespective of whether there is something to illuminate or not. As contrast to this, the Sankhyan believe that the Purusha is nothing else but it has Kartrutva and Bhoktrutva. According to Sankhya, the consciousness is distributed in this world. So each one of us are having different Purusha. My Purusha is different than your Purusha because Purushas are many. Vedanta says no. Reflecting surface varies. Consciousness is same. Kabira, कुआं एक है, पानी भरे अनेक. भांडे में ही भेद है, पानी सब में एक. That is Vedanta philosophy. According to Sankhya, Prakriti is Swatantram Pradhanam. Prakriti by itself creates the universe. According to Vedanta, Maya alone cannot create the world. Maya requires. The cracker alone will not burst unless it is lighted by the fire. The lightning principle is required. That is why the material cause, according to Sankhya, is Prakriti. So from Prakriti, that means from Triguna, everything is made. And how did it start? Who started this Prakriti becoming the universe or the creation? On its own, it started. They say there is no creator. That means in Sankhya Tattvajnana, there is creation but no creator. Vedanta says no. If the creation is there, there is a creator, that is Ishvara. Who is Ishvara? If he is creating, then he has already taken creatorship to him, but Brahma is neutral. No. This is Brahma entrapped in Maya. This is mirror with light entrapped. Still it can reflect, though the reflection is the original light is coming from Brahma. Moment the mirror is broken, where does the light go? Back to the sun. Maya Upadhit Ishvara is the Niyamaka Tattva or the intelligent or Nimitta Karana for Vishwa. Who is the juggler who created this jugglery? You cannot have illusion or the jugglery of Maya all alone. There has to be a magician. The magician is Ishvara. But the magician is clothed into what is called as Maya, the power to create. The moment he removes his clothes, inside he is Brahma alone. The magician ends, the magic ends, and one who was a magician merges with the Brahma. Saguna Vishesha Brahma. So the difference between the two we have seen. Now comes the question, and the most important question. If we say that the sunlight fell on the mirror and the reflection started and the game started, in what way the Brahma decided to go for creation? Now, this presupposes two things. There was a time when there was no creation. There was no creation. Only Brahman was there. Nasadiya Sukta in Rigveda speaks about it. That time when there was no truth, there was no untruth, there was no light, there was no darkness. Try imagining a situation where imagination fails. Can you imagine a time? Can you imagine a time when there is no light and no darkness? We can imagine darkness, we can imagine light, but we cannot imagine absence of both. In this world, everything is dvandva, dual. You can be either happy or you can be under sorrow, sad. I'm neither happy nor sad. Can you imagine the situation? No. I'm sitting and I'm standing. Can you imagine a situation where I'm neither sitting nor standing? Everything is punctuated by duality, dvandva. And he is dvandva atitam gagana shadrusham, dvandva atitam. He is beyond the duality. So the question comes, just by even flouting the rule that intellect is completely incapable of understanding Brahman. The wave cannot understand the ocean. It is technically impossible. The intellect cannot comprehend the Ishvara because this is Santa, limited. He is unlimited. How limited can grapple with the unlimited? However, through Shastra, by analogy, we can come at least closer to the understanding through Paroksha Jnana. And what is the analogy? Suppose there is no creation and the Brahma has decided to do the creation. Because before creation, only Brahma was existing. So the one who has to think about creation has to be Brahma. There is nothing else. Who else can think? Although Brahma never thinks. But for our understanding, we will have to use our words. So let us say Brahma thought of creation. The question that comes is, why did he think of creation now, not earlier? When we say there was a time when there was no creation and now the creation has started, then what was this so-called muhurat that he had that now I want to start creation? The fallacy in our thinking here is we are thinking in time. There was a time when there was no creation and then the creation started. This thinking is in time. We are forgetting the fact that time itself is a creation. This fatigues the imagination. When time is not there, then how can you say that before and after? Think about this. Sometimes Brahma creates the creation and sometimes he dissolves. But you're talking about time. Creation and dissolution can happen within the compass of time. He is beyond time. So the one who is beyond time, how can he think with time? Because he creates the time. Trikala Atitam, the one who is beyond past, present, and future, is thinking of creation now. Now will not apply. Any case, we cannot understand that. Still, we need to understand through analogy. Let us say, for the sake of it, that there was a point when the Lord decided or the Brahman decided to create the world. How did he do it? Ishvara, creation came, so Ishvara came. The moment creation was created, simultaneously creator or the Niyamak Tattva was there called Ishvara. So Jagadisha and Jagat, they are simultaneous creation. No one precedes anybody. And if the Brahman entrapped in Maya is Ishvara, this entrapment itself is creation. Moment Maya and Brahma together, Satya Anurute Mithuni Krutaha, real and unreal got married together, and the continuous dance of creation started. The extremely mystical sculpture of Nataraja, produced during the Chola Empire. The Shiva and the Shakti. From the real, unreal is coming out. Unreal that appears real till you come to know that it is not real. See the funny paradoxes in creation. World is an illusion. Jagan Mithya. But has definitely the reality till certain extent. So it is real as well as unreal. It is Sat, Asat, Vilakshan. If it is Asat, then how can it come from Sat? Because Brahman is Sat. Sat cannot be giving birth to Asat. If the world is considered Sat, then it gets ablated also. For a yogi, it is not existing. Gaudapada Maharaj said that there is no world. Samartha Ramdas said, Aga je घडलेची नाही त्याची वार्ता पुसशी काही. He said, why are you asking me the address of a person who is not existing? Why are you asking me about the world when it is not existing? So for a yogi, world is not existing. For me, it is existing. If for me it is existing, and if yogi it is not existing, then the Brahman has created what type of creation? Real or unreal? Or sometimes real, sometimes unreal? First part. And the most important part is, if at all he has created, even if it is illusion, illusion also requires creation. We say there is a mirage. But mirage needs to be created to be seen. It is false, all right. But it is seen. To create mirage, there has to be a heat, there has to be a desert, there is some samagri required. So even though world and creation is an illusion or reality, irrespective of whatever it is, how did the process of forming the creation happen at the hand of Brahma? That is the problem. Sankhya say Purusha doesn't create it. It is the Prakriti which creates. So Prakriti is an independent entity and it is a real entity and it keeps on developing itself and the world is created according to them. So they keep Purusha miles away from creation. Vedanta doesn't say that. Vedanta says creation is not possible without Brahma. So the connecting link between the Brahma and the creation. I am not saying creator and creation. Creator and creation is Ishvara and Jagat. I am saying Brahma and creation, the connecting link, the umbilical cord between the two is described by the fifth sutra of Brahma Sutra. It is called Ikshana. That's why the name of the Adhikarana is called Ikshatyadhikarana. What is Ikshatyadhikarana? Ikshaterna Shabdam. There is only one word. In Brahma Sutra, there is only one word that says, fifth sutra, Ikshaterna Shabdam. Ikshatehe na ashabdam. This is the Vigraha. This is the only one word for which the entire discussion what we are doing is on only one word. Na ashabdam ikshate. Shabda means Veda. Shabda means Shabda Pramana. Shabda Pramana, that which you take for granted as the reality. Who says Brahman is there? Who says the creation is there? All this is true because it is said in Vedas. Veda is a Pramana, is called Shabda. Na ashabdam ikshate, because the Veda is not talking about not seeing. That means Dvi Nakara. Dvi Nakara is one hokar. The simple meaning of this sutra is, because the word ikshate is used in Veda, Brahma is the cause of the universe, or the material as well as intelligent cause, upadan as well as nimitta karana. Now, what is this ikshana? What is the ikshana? When I do a work in daily life, I first desire, it is called sankalpa. So I do a sankalpa, then of course, if there is a vikalpa will happen, then I will work on it, dhanendriya, karmendriya, and the work is done, and there is a phalam. So that means there is a karta, there is a karma, there is a phala. Karta does the sankalpa, because of which karma happens, and every karma has essentially a phala. This is our process of doing. Did Lord do the same kind of work when he created universe, that he desired that I will make a world, and then accordingly he worked on making the world, and then the world happened, and what is the phalam of the world? Then you can ask a question to the creator or the Brahma, that what did you get out of this phalam? But Brahma has no phalam for creation. And when the phalam is absent, when the kriya is done without kartrutvata, phalam cannot come. So what is this work? What is this work that the Lord did, where he did not desire, did not get any phalam, yet the work happened? Prayojana virahita, niyojana sahita. Just try to see. Prayojana virahita, niyojana sahita. When the work of this kind happens, it is not called karma, it is called leela. Prayojana virahita. What is the purpose? What is the reason why the world is created? There is no reason. How can you create something without a reason? Our intelligence tells us that just because you create something without any reason can happen. Prayojana virahita things happen only in two cases. One is if you are lunatic. You see all the people who are their brain is not functioning, whatever. What they do? They keep doing something which has no meaning. Prayojana virahita. So it is Lord mad? He's a highly intelligent thing. He is intelligence. If intelligence is there, then it cannot be a mad thing. Then what is the second reason? Whenever a prayojana virahita but niyojana sahita work is done, it is not called karma, it is called leela. And leela has another meaning. What is the meaning of leela? Sahajata, the ease. What is difficult? A very big wrestler beating a very puny small man. Is it great? No. A very small puny man breaking the bones of a huge wrestler is abnormal. It's something great, it's something. That is why बूंद समाई सागर में जाने हर कोई, सागर समाया बूंद में जाने बिरला कोई. Kabir Maharaj says the same thing. The Almighty Brahma has created something which is so phenomenally surprising that in each one of us he is residing. What is his nature? Vibhur Vyapya. He is everywhere. In the entire creation is nothing but Brahma. But the same Brahma then comes to reside in a small jiva, like a small animal also, a small human being also. How such a huge Vibhur Vyapya Sarvatra Sarvendriyanam came and resided into a small thing? That is his creation. That is why it is called a Leela. That which is done easily, by which almost impossible huge thing is done into a small thing, creating humongous billions of jivas, and in each jiva being there in the same form is not a small thing to achieve. That is why it is called Leela. And how does he do that? Does he do that by desiring? Because he has no desires. He is Swatantra. Desire is for the one who is Paratantra. Why do you desire happiness? Because you are not happy, somebody else is happy. You are dependent on happiness. You are dependent for the happiness on something. That's why you desire. If you are not, let us say you are not dependent on any objects for happiness, you will be Swatantra. Swatantra has no reason to be having desire. We all are aware of things around us, but that is objective awareness. Can we have choiceless awareness? The one who is in choiceless awareness does not require any object around because he is Swatantra. Brahma being Swatantra, there is no need for him to desire. So he has no desire. There is no need for him to desire, yet he creates. And normally for the creation or kriya, desire is required. So how a desireless, without having a desire, creates a creation? What is exactly then that happens there is the subject matter of discussion of this particular adhikarana called Ikshatyadhikarana. The word Ikshana is the word that we are going to study. And then Shankaracharya, left, right, center, is going to demolish the Sankhyan Tattvajnana, first through the Shruti, by giving the different anecdotes from the Upanishads, and then through the Yukti. So there are 12 Yuktis used by Shankaracharya, and the Shruti Pramana used by Shankaracharya to refute the Sankhya Tattvajnana. And then he is going to also explain what is Ikshana, which will be the subject of the next session. Hari Om. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnam Udachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.
Hari Om. Sanjay ji. While the Sankhya says that a Purusha doesn't have any role in creation, but on the other hand, they say that he is a he is a Bhokta. How can this be matched actually? Doesn't it look contradictory?
Doesn't look contradictory because if everything else is achetana, if Prakriti is achetana, which they agree that it is achetana, then how achetan can enjoy? How bhoktrutva can be there for achetana? For somebody to enjoy as a bhokta, there has to be a sentient principle into it. That is why they say, though the creation is made by achetana, the creation is nothing else but a feast arranged So according to Sankhya, the cooking happens on its own and the dishes are served, but to eat the dishes, mango cannot eat mango. There has to be eater of the mango. So Purusha is Bhoktrutva. That is what their philosophy is. Hari Om.
Hari Om, Sanjay ji. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, you in between you were mentioning about this Chidambaram, that Nadaraja. I heard a story that is very much agreeable to our Advaita Vedanta Satya. There were some munis, then some rishis who were Deva Nindaga rishis, who were not believers, and they used to trouble actual munis. Then, tired of them, the real munis appealed Lord Shiva to do something about it, and he finally came there and killed all these Deva Nindaga munis. And there only he became Nataraja. Ananda Nritta he has done there, and there only he became Nataraja. I have heard a story, and that because the Ajnana has been removed, then Jnana has come and he made the Ananda Nritta there. So when you said that particular thing, I realized this. Oh, this is very much agreeable to this. That's all. Okay, somebody else is trying to ask.
Hari Om, Sanjay ji. Your explanation was beautiful. The sunlight reflecting from the mirror and the purification of the mirror is the ultimate this thing. And once it is purified and the day it looks back to the sun, the entire energy reflects back to the sun, then the realization takes place. It's beautifully explained. Now, my question is that, is it necessary that knowledge is the only way for purification of the mind, or there are other many sources? But what happens is that when some people gets more knowledge, they become like anti kind of thing, like in the sense they started working against the creation kind of thing. Challenging, there is no Ishvara, nothing like that, like Professor M.T. Govo, who was against all those things, because the knowledge, they got more and more knowledge, they reflected in a different way. So without even knowledge also, one can reflect back to the source of energy.
The end point while cleaning the mirror is cleanliness. So when you say you can clean the mirror with your hand or with taking a small dust cloth, or you can clean it with a soap water, or the way you can clean your mirror can be many. The result is cleanliness, clean mirror. So cleanest mirror or clean mirror is knowledge. Whether it comes from a particular method of cleaning or otherwise, it's up to you. And for cleaning, what you require is you have to remove the ego. And the ego removal can happen either by reasoning, that is knowledge, jnana yoga. It can happen by contemplation and concentration, raja yoga. It can happen by giving away the ego and thinking everything is full of only God around me, bhakti yoga. Or it can work this way, that I am born basically not for myself, but to help everyone around me, so that everybody is nothing else but the son of Lord, and my job is to do the service to them. This is karma yoga. These are 4 different instruments used to clean the intellect or mirror of intellect. So the intellectual mirror, once polished and cleaned, such a shining intellect is called knowledge. So knowledge need not come only from the books. And the people whom you're talking about is the people who are in secular knowledge. Even now what we have is called Paroksha Jnana. I may be an expert in Brahma Sutra, but maybe miles away from the Lord, because I have the intellectual capacity to analyze what is written in Brahma Sutra. It is like I can describe the mango in the most beautiful way, but mind well, I have not yet eaten it. The beauty lies in eating. The one who eats directly the mango need not be a competent person to describe it, but he has already eaten it. So what is important is eating the mango, and eating the mango is called knowledge, not getting the knowledge of eating the mango. So that should be completely differentiated. Hari Om.
Beautiful, beautiful. Hari Om.
Yeah, very beautiful answer. Yes, thank you. Thank you.
Hari Om, Sanjay ji, can you just explain, you talked about entrapment as Maya, entrapment of Brahman is Maya, but when it's obstructed, there is creation of Ishvara. Little clarity between the two, please.
Let's say when you are an adult, you're definitely more powerful than your own child. Now you decided one day to play with the child. So what you do is you become small. You sit on the ground and start crawling like your child because you want to play with the child. Now what happened? The adult is gone anywhere? It's not gone anywhere. The adult has now become trapped into a thing called childhood. Now, does childhood exist for you? No, it doesn't exist. You have already passed it. You got the childhood, although you are an adult, just because you wanted to play with your child. Now, why you play with your child? Because you love your child, or you feel that it is good thing to play with the child. Similarly, Brahma, when it decides to have a different aspect of him to be enjoyed by him. Now here we need to understand the Brahma is the abode of enjoyment, but he is also abode of Shakti, power. Now let us say you had the power to become a child so that you could play with the child. You exhibited that power. Next moment you will say, I will not exhibit the power because I don't want to do it. In either case, you had no specific intention. Your own power, you decided to utilize so that you entertain yourself. For your own entertainment, utilizing your own power and you having only the variation, it is like saying that, look how much variety I have within me. Sometimes if you remember, you also when you are sitting, you feel proud of yourself or what? You just feel proud of yourself because why? Oh, I have achieved so much, or I have this. Having something gives you a pride, and then you tend to exhibit it in the world. We have this tendency to exhibit our riches in the world. Of course, it is with malified intention, but with innocent intention or with inherent intention also, Shiva feels like using the Shakti to create something. So Krishna, when he felt that he would like to experience his Alladini Shakti or Ladini Shakti, the Shakti of Prema, he created Radha from himself. Radha is the Krishna's own consort from Krishna's own body as a Shakti, but the roop of Shakti this time is a Prema Shakti. When it comes out as a Kriya Shakti, then the Devi comes, the Maya comes, she creates the universe and enjoys and gives an enjoyment to whom? It is a drama in which the spectator himself has become the drama part. That's why Nanak Maharaj has written a scripture called Vichitra Natak. Vichitra Natak, because it is a Vichitra Natak. It is a Natak in which the Nata and the Prekshaka both are same. So it is basically when that action happens, when that particular thing to become many or utilize the Shakti happens, that is the time then the world is created, but it cannot be created alone. He has to be there into it. So what happens? He first creates an apparel and then creates a body to wear that apparel, but body and apparel together is a beautiful sight to look at. Apparel is inert, the body is sentient, the body is nothing else but the Brahma in the form of body suitable for the apparel. That is how Maya is there as a Shakti. Then for that Maya being apparel, inert, it's a matter vesture, he creates himself as a body. So the Brahma along with the beautiful dress of Maya both come into the world and the world is created, which is nothing else but it is his game. Hari Om.
Hari Om,
Hari Om,
ji.
sir.
Sorry, just one clarification. With that same, you said entrapment, and you said Ishvara is obstruction. Was that understanding right? Or
Ishvara is the tattva of Brahman only. Saguna Brahma is Ishvara. Ishvara, when he exhibits the guna, he becomes Brahman. When it exhibits the guna, it becomes Ishvara. But alone he cannot exhibit. Sunlight alone, light has no usage unless there is some reflecting medium. So light and mirror both come together in this world. Similarly, Brahman with mirror, that is Maya, when they come together, then the world starts. So that is why it is the entrapment of Brahman in the Upadhi or limiting adjunct of Maya. Hari Om.
Hari Om, sir. Bhuvan here. Sir, there is a very there are a lot of Indras, what we read in the scripture. There are a lot of Brahmas also, but it is not mentioned that there are a lot of Shivas and a lot of Krishnas, or let's say Vishnu Bhagwan. So ultimately, what happens to these? Because as far as my understanding goes, Indra is a Upadhi. Brahma is also Upadhi. But on the Shiva and the Lord Vishnu, it has not been said like that. So what happens to them actually? Because they are aware of the Maya. But the only thing didn't understand the entrapment. Because they're aware of the Maya. Though they are under the influence of the Maya, but they're aware of it actually. This if you can explain, and then what happened to them.
If you go and work in the office, you are aware that you are working in the office, but you are actually, Mr. Bhuvan, having a separate family and separate life. So still you work here, even knowing that you are into the entrapment, is simply because that is nothing else but the role that you are playing for the sake of creation. Saguna Ishvara is becoming a Niyamaka Tattva for the creation because the Niyojan has to be done. For the sake of Niyojan, Brahma is on a deputation in an office called Maya to control the office called creation. When the office is not there, the chief executive Ishvara is no more entrapped into the office. He just leaves the office and goes back to his root, his home, which is nothing else but Brahma. Now, in the office, you have a lot of officiating officers. The CEO also is Ishvara, but officiating officers are there. So there are 12 sales representatives. So there will be 12 Indras. However, there will be one head for the HR, one head for the sales. He'll be president sales. So he'll be having more authority. In other words, more expression of consciousness compared to the Indra. That is why each of them will be having different experiences compared to the warehouse labor. So that is why warehouse labor's power, authority, experience is limited. So that is why it is called warehouse loka. Then comes sales representative loka. Then comes president sales loka. Loka is anubhava kaksha. So these are called different lokas. The CEO is actually aware of all the lokas, but he's still sitting there because he has to run the company. However, the shareholder and the founder of this is not to be seen because it is in the book form called Articles of Association, which is nothing else but Brahma. Just take away the Articles of Association, the company collapses. But Articles of Association cannot be seen. Yet just because they are there, the company is formed. Every day in none of the functions, articles will come. But Articles of Association give the power to the CEO and everybody to work. This is how the whole working is there. And Shankara, Vishnu Bhagavan, Narayan, some of the people while doing the worship, take one of these entities and then they put him at the same pedestal as Ishvara and even same pedestal as Brahma and do the puja. And that is perfectly acceptable because you can either call Indra as a small person or you can eulogize Indra and take him at the level of Vishnu just through the worship. Because after all, These are all nothing else but upasana marga. Your pratik for the upasana can be anything. Shaligram, then Vishnu in Shaligram, pratik upasana. Then you can go further saying that I am Vishnu, ahangraha upasana. And when you say I am Vishnu, you're virtually saying I am Atma, Brahma, and then you're equating Vishnu with Brahma itself. All these are allowed because these are all alambanas. Alambanas. All these are ropes to reach Mount Everest, sir. And once you reach Mount Everest, none of these ropes are required. So all this saguna sakara will be slowly put away by saguna nirakar. Then saguna nirakar will be put away by nirguna nirakar. That means the mount is scaled, nothing more to scale. Hari Om.